Actually, one of those screws is just a wee bit longer than one at the front. So yes, definitely don't mix them up. Alright, now this part here is now a little bit loose and we can lift it out a little bit. Now please be careful of this little spring here, you don't want to lose that. Your wire runs through there, of course. So now we need to get this little orange part off here. Now this is, this is a little bit tricky to get this off. There's a screw top and bottom. Just lift that up, see there's a screw top and bottom. Now they're very small screws and you can't lift it up very far, so they're a little bit tricky to get to. So what I do is I take my screwdriver, and I actually need a smaller one than this, but this is just so you can see, and I put a bit of blue tack on the end. Now I can still undo the screw with that by pushing it in, but the screw will actually stick to that blue tack and I won't lose it. If you drop it into the body cavity, you'll have to very carefully turn your Pleo upside down, holding on to all the bits, and just give it a gentle shake. Hopefully you don't need to do that. Now I'm going to need 2 hands to do this, I'm afraid. Okay, I've raised my iPad up a little bit, so hopefully that makes it a bit easier for you to see. Okay, I think I've got the wrong size screwdriver here. Try a smaller one. That's it. Okay, so I've got my blue tack on the end. And then we have it, stuck on the end so we don't lose it. Now when you put it back on, you need to do it the same way. It's really, really tricky to get to. Okay, stick that down on my board. Get another bit of blue tack. Sorry about my hands being in the way so much. It's a bit tricky to do this when I need both hands. It would help if I had someone to film, but I don't. So I'll try turning Lilo on the side here. Alright, so the bottom one's even trickier because you really can't lift it up very far. And there we have it again. Another one safely out. So again, I'll stick them down on my board so I don't lose anything. Now that little orange tab is loose, and this will come a little bit further out. So we'll just sit that up like that. Alright, just try and get you a better view there. Alright, now I'm going to pull this cable right through now, and I'm going to pull this spring off. So that's all pulled through. That is now loose. Put that somewhere safe. You do not want to lose that. Okay, now underneath here we've got the same thing. This bottom cable also runs through, sorry, it just rolled under there. This bottom cable also runs through a little spring like this, but it's a little bit trickier when it's down there because you should be able to pull it up a bit with the wire, but make sure you don't misplace it. It's very, very important. So just keep them in a safe place and remember which one is which. The bottom one is slightly longer than the top one. Okay, now this is the cable housing. This is the part that we need to get into. There are 3 screws on this side that you need to undo. Again, set them somewhere nice and safe so you don't lose them. Label them if you prefer. Stick them to a sheet of paper, anything so that you don't lose them. It's very, very important not to lose any of these parts. Okay, one more down the bottom here. Sorry, my hands are in the way a bit again, aren't they? Alright, as you bring this last screw out, please be careful. You don't want to lose the screw, and this bit is now capable of coming to pieces. Okay, I'm going to tilt this a bit, trying to give you the best view I possibly can, but it is a little bit tricky. Now, in here we've got two little plastic tabs. Be careful when you pull this apart because they are loose and they will come out quite easily. Now to pull this apart, there are little tabs on the side that are holding it securely in place. So to get them apart, if I try lifting it with my fingernail, I think I'm going to break a nail. So we'll just use a screwdriver to lift them up. Alrighty, there we go. So that's our gear mechanism. Now I don't know if you saw that, but this plastic tab came straight off when I lifted it up. Now I'm going to take these off. Now please note very carefully that they need to go to the back side to there. The flat side needs to go that way. So just watch them very carefully when you take them off so you know how to put them back on. Just get this last one out, and there we have it. Okay, now I'll just remove this one. Oh, actually it's probably safe in there. Alright, pay attention to the gears very carefully when you move them out. They need to be in order and they need to be the right way up and down. Otherwise your Pleo's neck will not move again. So I like to sit them in order the same way that I got them out. So for example, this is the second one, so I'll set this at number 2 and I will sit it that way because that's the way I removed it. If you do that, it's going to save you a lot of trouble later on. Alright, and this one here is the important one because this is what holds the cables and causes the neck to move. So what we need to do, now in yours, because you haven't opened up your Pleo before, this area here will have another copper tab in it to hold the cable in place. Once again, I've used a bit of super glue to fix my cable in there. So just be aware of that yours will have a copper tab, and it is really, really tricky to get out. It's stuck in there very well. So it does take quite a bit of effort to get it out. Okay, to install the new cable, what you need to do is start underneath the neck. So this has got to run through first. Just slots through under there. Don't worry about putting it through the vertebrae just yet. And you need to be able to grab it underneath. Now, probably won't be able to fit your fingers in there, but if you use a screwdriver, you should be able to just pull it through. Alright, now the spring slips back on. And that needs to run down the bottom there. And that'll just sit in there. Once you pull it back a bit, the spring should just slot into place where it's supposed to be. Alrighty. Mine's not going to do it, so I'm just going to poke it down with the screwdriver. There we go. Okay, so you just slide that towards the front, down the bottom there. Now, this is where your grippers come in handy. Whatever grippers you choose to use, fasten them on the end there, make sure they're good and tight. And that'll stop you accidentally pulling the cable through too far. Alright. Just a quick note before I go and do that, before I forget, this piece needs to go on first. Now, it needs to go on the right way. So I'm just going to double check. I want it to run through there, so I need to go that way. Okay, so it needs to go smooth side up, bumpy side down, just like that. And that'll just slide inside the body there. Alright. Okay, to get this bit done, I've just pulled up a bit of the wire there. I'm just going to run that through. I'm going to give it a good pull, and that just breaks the super glue, and I should be able to pull it right through now. Because yours has that metal tab, yours will be a bit trickier to do than that, I'm afraid. But yeah, just be careful, persevere, and you'll get it there. What I did was use a small screwdriver to just lever it out very carefully. Now please, please, please do not break this. Be very careful. If you break this, you won't be able to get a replacement part, and it is absolutely essential to the working of the neck. So yeah, just a warning there. Now what we need to do is get it through our plastic bit. So that's not very much fun, it's very tricky. I like to use a pin to pull it through. But yeah, it is very tricky to do. I'll just set that up and show you my preferred method. It might not work for you, but it seems to do okay for me. And then we'll continue. Okay, I'll try and show you my method here. This might not work for you, but I use the pin to just sort of pull it through. It's very fiddly, and it does take a while, but if you can get a grip on the cable with the pin, it does help to pull it through. Okay, so now it's time to put everything back where it belongs. This piece sits in there. With the little plastic tab. Now we need to thread. It's probably not going to stay too well. We need to thread our other little plastic tab, which of course you've kept in a safe place. Okay, so the other plastic tab goes on this side. Same thing, flat side on first. And pull that through. Alrighty, I didn't think you were going to stay. Now this bit's a bit, oops, we're going to lose that in a sec. This bit is tricky to get it to sit back in place. Okay, there's one. There's two. Key mechanism should be in the center, and there we go. Okay, now it's time to put all the gears back in. Of course you've kept them in order, haven't you? So they just slot on. Really, there's probably only one way they can go, but pays to be extra careful and not lose any. Alright, there we go. So that's all in place, and now we just have to attach it to this bit very carefully. Just pull it through a bit. Now the tabs, the plastic little white tabs do line up, so that'll tell you how to put them together. There we go. Put our clips back in. And now it's time to replace the screws. So basically we're just doing everything in reverse that we did before. So screws in, 3 for this part, remember. You should have them somewhere nice and safe. Alright, so that's all back together. Okay, now it's time to get this little orange tab back on. This bit is quite tricky. So first of all we need to get that sitting down a little bit without losing the orange tab. And we need to make sure we've got the wires all out the way. Alright, now I'm going to do this the same way that I put it on there. I'm going to use a bit of blue tack to hold the screws in place. And then hopefully screw it on. Now it is going to be very tricky. Apologise if I don't get this on film. I'm actually going to put this screw in a little and then hook the orange tab onto it. Might be the easiest way. There we go. Alright, top one done. Now the bottom one. Should be a little bit easier. Okay, just move that blue tack out of the way. Make sure it's good and tight. Alright, top cable. Need to put our little spring on. So our little spring onto the top cable. Run that through. Now I probably should have mentioned this earlier. I have 1 meter of cable. That's plenty. Alright, now to sit this down, just make sure we don't get it caught under the wires there. And that should just sit in there when I've got all the wires out of the way, which I don't. Alright, that's sitting in how it's supposed to be. Alright, just come around the other side here. Get screw number 1 in and to hold it down. Okay, it's still not sitting in properly. Okay, I've got the screw in place now, so time to get the rest of them in. Should be another one underneath the wires here. It's a bit tricky to get to. And then my little friend the blue tack again, just to hold that in place. Alright, there we go, that's 2. 1 more to get in. So I'll just check this one because I'm not sure I've got the right screw in there. Nope, I don't. Okay, this one needs to go in here because it's a little bit longer. That's better. And this one goes over the back, a bit more blue tack. So I don't drop it in there. That wouldn't be very good, would it? Alright, screw that one in over the back there. Alright, get that bit of blue tack out. There we go, that's the tricky bit done. Alright, now we reassemble the back exactly how we took it all off.